Today we're going to be doing another recipe test, one of my favorite types of videos to film, and we're going to be making crispy oven-baked cauliflower tacos. These are supposed to be sort of similar to fish tacos, which I used to love. Seafood was actually the last thing that I gave up and was kind of a challenge for me. I found this on Pinterest, which by the way is where I find a lot of my recipe inspiration. I'm gonna link the original recipe down below. It actually has 3 parts, so there's the crispy breaded cauliflower, cabbage slaw, and a tartar sauce. And we're going to start out by making the cabbage slaw as the recipe recommends, just so that it has time to marinate and the cabbage can soften up a little bit. I've already prepped the ingredients. The recipe itself only calls for green cabbage, red cabbage, shredded carrot, and then some lime, but I decided to jazz it up a little bit, so I'm adding some finely minced red onion and some cilantro. You can skip that if you like. So we are just gonna throw all of the ingredients into this bowl. We'll add the juice of 1 lime. The recipe calls for a tablespoon of white vinegar, but I don't have any. I'm just going to use some apple cider vinegar. I'm going to eyeball it. I don't really measure things unless I'm baking. And then 1 or 2 teaspoons of maple syrup. Just a quick drizzle there. And some salt. Toss it all together. I think it's perfect as is, so I'm just gonna throw this into the fridge while we prepare the rest of the recipe. And I just realized you need to preheat your oven. I should have done that at the very beginning to 400 degrees, so I'm gonna do that right now. I'm gonna start on the cauliflower now. So what you need is half a cup of full fat coconut milk, the good stuff. Got that here, and we are going to squeeze some lime juice in there. You also have the zest of that lime and a little bit of salt. Give that a quick whisk. Then we're going to move on to our cauliflower. The recipe actually recommends that instead of using cauliflower florets, you slice it into sort of longer, thin pieces, cutting it in half, and then I'm going to cut the stem off. I'm going to go with like 1/2 inch width on these slices. Most likely I will not be using all of it for this recipe. Next up is to make the breading. There's quite a few ingredients here. We have some cornmeal, some flaked coconut, some panko crumbs. I actually found gluten-free rice panko at my regular grocery store. 1/2 cup of that, cumin, smoked paprika, salt, pepper, garlic powder, and turmeric. So I'm gonna mix this all up together. I'm actually just gonna do it straight on this plate because I'll use this for my breading station. We're gonna bread our cauliflower now, so you want a baking pan lined with either silicone baking mat or some parchment paper. Pretty straightforward. We're just gonna dip our cauliflower into the coconut milk mixture, then into the breading, goes on the pan, and then we're gonna bake it at 400. Really trying to press the breading onto the cauliflower. So I just finished breading my cauliflower. Made a huge mess in the process, of course, but that is to be expected anytime you're breading something. So again, the oven is at 400 degrees. We're gonna bake these for 15 minutes. We're gonna flip all the pieces and then continue baking them for another 10 to 15 minutes, however long, until they're nice and crispy, and I will check back in with you then. Last part of the recipe is just a really easy vegan tartar sauce. So you just need some vegan mayo, some chopped up dill pickles, or I'm just using dill relish because it's what I happen to have. Some dried dill, some sriracha, that's optional, but of course I'm going to add it because sriracha, and some lime juice. I'm actually going to half this part of the recipe because I need to be responsible with my mayonnaise consumption. And the taste test. Oh yeah. So I ended up baking the cauliflower for 35 minutes altogether just to get it super golden brown and nice and crispy. And I assembled my tacos here on some corn tortillas, and we're gonna give it a taste test. It's actually surprisingly good and a lot more similar to fish tacos than I would have expected. If you watched my carrot hot dog recipe test, I talk about how it's not really the hot dog itself, like the meat, that makes a hot dog taste like a hot dog. It's like the spices and the condiments and the bun that you put all together, sort of like a combination of all those things, like the joint effect. And I feel like now the same goes for fish tacos, because separately this does just taste like breaded spiced cauliflower, but when you put it all together somehow it just tastes very, very similar to the fish tacos that I used to have at Rubio's growing up. Okay, I can get behind this. I give it a thumbs up. You should try it. I initially was very skeptical because I'm not the biggest fan of cauliflower, but again, when you combine it with all of these spices and bright flavors, the cauliflower flavor is not very detectable at all. You know I'm about to go devour the the rest of these. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a thumbs up if you did, and subscribe if you're new to this channel and you like vegan cooking videos, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!